What's up, everyone? In this video I'm going to be showing you about casting variables in Python. So casting is super useful because it allows us to use to change a variable's data type. So basically this is super important because if you have a variable you don't always know which data type you're going to need it in. And that's okay because we have casting. So casting is a tool that allows us to use a variable in the format that's required. So this will make sense here in just a second, but let me create my file here and link a terminal. Okay, so for example, let's start out with this. Let's say x equals 25, and then we just print x. So if I run this program right now, it will just print 25 to the console because that's what x equals, right? So that's okay, but what if I wanted to add some type of text to this? So if I add like your age is, and then do a plus to add the age onto the end here. So if I run this is going to cause an error because we have a string, which is this. We have your age is, that's a string, and x is an integer. So when we're going to print, we can't just directly combine strings with integers like this. What we need to do is cast it as a string. So this is actually super easy in Python, and this is one of the reasons that I love Python, is all that it takes to make x to cast x as a string is just add str in front of it. So str is a function. And without going into too much detail here, all that it does is it just converts the integer into a string, which is the format that we need it. So right now I can print this as your age is 25, just like this, but x is still an integer, right? And it's actually super easy to check what type a variable is. So let's pretend that you had, this was a really big program or something, and you don't exactly know what form or what data type your variable is right now. So there's another super useful function. It's called type. So all that type's going to do is just tell me what kind of variable this is. So you'll see class int. Just disregard class for right now if you don't understand that. What really matters here is it's telling us x is still an integer, but in this case up here, all we did is cast it as a string. We didn't actually change the variable's data type. So that's super useful that we can just use it as a string, but we don't have to change the whole variable to do that. And this also works for floats too. So let's say this was 25.5. Let me go ahead and run this and I'll see, so your age is 25.5. So it takes the float and it just casts it as a string right here. And then printing the type of the variable, it's still a float. So it doesn't, you can use just about any variable, any data type, and just directly cast it as a string and an output like this. And it also works the other way. So let's say that I have a variable, we'll call this var string or varster, and let's set this equal to 19. And then let's say that now I want to use this variable varster as an integer. So then if I can just directly cast that. So let's say that I wanted to do some operation to it. Let's say let's do addStir equals, and then we can do int varStir, like so, and then let's say that we add 2 to it, and then let's print out addStir, like this. So you can see right here, now it's 21. So in this case, I casted varStir to be an integer, which allowed me to use an integer operation, which is addition right here, to add 2 to it. And then right here we still have, this will still be an integer, varStir is still a string. So if I do type varStir like that, this should print class string, like so. So that tells me that the variable varster, we just casted its value to do this operation right here, but we didn't actually change the data type that is varster. It's still a string. Okay, and then let me show you that this also works for floats. So let's say I have 19.41 and I want to add 0.23, so this should print 21.64. And okay, so right now I'm going to tell you this is going to throw an error. So let's say that I tried to do an int with a float. So this is going to be the issue, is that basically what it's saying is we have a decimal here and you're trying to convert it to an integer. So let me convert that to float, and now it runs and gives me 21.64. I also came across a little bit of a hiccup here. So if I do 19.4 and then plus 2.2, this should give me 21.6. But I'm having this issue right here where I get a really, really close number, but it ends up actually rounding off at the very end. So to remedy this, if you did ever come across this, let me teach you this little trick here. So you can use what's called the round function. And the round function just allows you to round to some precision. So let's say that I wanted to round to 3 decimal places precision, and then I run this. So this is going to round it at the 9, I don't know, right about here. So, 3 decimal places. So 5999. So right here would be what the CPU is going to then round. And since it sees the double nines at the end, it's just going to round up to 21.6. So that's the way to kind of work around that. I've actually never seen this issue before, but I think it's just because we are doing typecasting. And then at the CPU level, it's rounding off this, I don't know, very, very small number right here. But it's pretty easy to remedy with the round function. I mean, it's very rare that you'd ever need this degree of precision. And if you do, maybe don't use casting, but that's super rare. So I just wanted to show you that I did, in fact, come across an issue, but it's pretty easy to get around that one. And then just to show you, that you can indeed convert floats to strings as well, let's do your age is, and then add, and then convert this float, or I'm sorry, we're casting this float to be a string, and then it'll print your age is 21.6, so it's casting the float as a string, but then, right here, let me change this type. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That was fine. So yeah, addster is a float, but varster is still a string. I always want to take a moment to say thank you for watching. I will link the GitHub repo I showed in this video in the description, along with the link to my Discord server. If you have any questions, comments, want to get in contact with me, it's a great resource to you. Once again, thanks for watching.